So what I was doing was crazy, and I knew it was crazy. I had a full-time job, I was married, I had small kids, and I was trying to eke out a master's and a PhD. I remember one time sitting at the dinner table working on a paper, and my kids were working on their homework, and one of my kids looked at my wife, Noreen, and said, "What grade is Dad in?" And my wife said, 22nd grade. How pathetic was that? So I finished, I finally got it done, and now I'm at Biola. I'm going on my 9th year at Biola. So what has stayed with me? Was there one class from all my masters, from all my PhD that just stayed with me? And there is. There's a class I've thought about ever since leaving UNC Chapel Hill. You ever take a class you didn't know what it was? One of the rock stars at UNC Chapel Hill was a man named Michael Eric Dyson. He was leaving UNC Chapel Hill. Nobody knew that, and Dr. Madison grabbed me one day and said, "Hey, if you've never had Dyson, you need to take him next semester because he's leaving, and you don't want to have a UNC experience without taking Dr. Dyson." So I signed up for the class. I didn't even know what it was. I show up for the very first day of class. Dr. Dyson gets up, and he says, "Gangster rap music is a resistance movement. We ought not to censor it. We should listen to it. So let's listen to it." And he hit play, and I sat there for an hour and a half. I didn't know who Tupac was. I didn't know who Two Live Crew was. I didn't know any of that. I'm sitting there listening to this music dressed like a Gap representative, right? I promise you, in an hour and a half, I promise you, I heard the F word 1,000 times. It was unbelievable. I never even knew that world existed. So here I am, driving home in my Hyundai, and I call my friend Tim Downs, and I say, "Well, I gotta drop the class. Obviously, I have to drop the class. There's no way I can sit and listen to that kind of stuff week after week." And Tim Downs said something to me, my friend. He said, "Listen, you just told me that this guy has been labeled one of the top African-American intellectuals in the entire country. You told me that he was a Southern Baptist minister, right? You told me that he's a really smart guy. Do you know why he defends gangster rap music?" And I said, "No." And he said, "I'd give it one more week. Give it one more week to find out why a man who claims to be a Christian, is obviously very smart, PhD from Princeton, why does he defend gangster rap music?" And week after week, I thought, okay, this would be the week I drop the class. This would be the week I drop the class. And he challenged me so much. He said this: "What if you're living in the American nightmare? Not the American dream, but the American nightmare. Your kids don't play Little League because they don't have money for that. Your kids aren't going to ballet school. They're not doing Taekwondo because there is no money. They are literally living week to week. So if you're in the American nightmare, how do you get the attention of the dominant culture? How do you get people to listen to something that they don't want to hear? How do you get people to see something that they'd rather not see? Right? Write an academic article, nobody will read it, about poverty. Write an article in USA Today, well, nobody will publish it. But write a song called Cop Killer, where a racist LAPD police officer pulls you over, and instead of just capitulating, you take a gun out and shoot that officer. Now you're on the cover of Time magazine. Now everybody wants to interview you, and you get to talk about the poverty that you grew up in." I didn't know what to say to that. One day, 3 of us were supposed to present, 3 PhDs. Each of us was to have an hour. I was first. I was the only one who went that entire 3 hours. He was mad at me. He was saying, "You Christians don't care about anything." And I said, "Wow, it's hard to have all of Christianity on my shoulders." And he said, "It's never easy to get crucified, is it?" And I just sat there and listened and listened and listened. And I don't know what to do with it. I don't agree with everything he said. I don't agree with the method by which he says it, but I must say one thing: I still remember what he said. To this day, I think about Michael Eric Dyson. I think about what he said to me. I think about how he challenged me. You know, the greatest compliment I think you can have as a teacher is every once in a while, people will graduate and come back, and they'll say something to me like, "Dr. Muehlhoff, you said something in family communication like 5 years ago that I'm not sure I agree with it." And I'm like, you remember something I said 5 years ago? "Yeah, but I don't agree with it." I don't care. How about a hug? Come here. I don't know if I agree with Michael Eric Dyson. I don't know if I like Michael Eric Dyson. I don't know if I was manipulated by Michael Eric Dyson, but the one thing that is true about Michael Eric Dyson is he stays with me and reminds me every once in a while that there is an American nightmare that we need to think about and we need to respond to. And for that, I'm grateful.
Biola University offers a variety of biblically centered degree programs, ranging from business to ministry to the arts and sciences. Visit biola.edu to find out how Biola could make a difference in your life.